All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Workshop. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing on our agenda today is department heads reports, and we'll start out with the sheriff's office. Sheriff, come on down.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
I want to bring you up to date on for the detention center. The jail standards is what we've been working on since the middle of January. We have had several meetings with the CSOC coordinators, as well as getting into what they have set the program up through Power DMS, which is under NeoGov, and it's been a very trying type of program to get into to make it work for us and understanding how things are. Most of it has to be done out of these 250 compliance standards. It has a lot to do with the policies that are prepared to match with what the jail standard numbers are. And that's important so that when we have a compliance inspection, which is going to be once every 5 years, but it has to be up to date by July 1st of this year. And so we're working diligently with that. We had a final training mission, or actually it was a mission. It was a 3-hour session with Power DMS and with CSOC, as well as the new coordinator with Power DMS. The program has changed now that we are going to have different standard formats that are coming out, supposed to be later this week. So we're really better off. I'm glad that we waited until now to get started with really getting into the meat of getting those compliance upgrades done. But they sent out when the assessments are going to be held for the counties in Colorado. And so they started from letter Z and worked their way backwards to A. So ours will be September of 2027 sometime, which is fine. But everything will be, should be up to accreditation. And basically it's very much the same as CLIA accreditations for law enforcement agencies, policies and procedures. It's very much the same. It's very strict, and it has to be up to date and updated every year. But that assessment will be done and ready for on-site assessments. We did meet with Southern Health Partners and Southwest Memorial Hospital. That was back on February the 24th of this year. And we finally have got things worked out as far as medical clearances and what SHP can do and what we can't do, as far as SHP and what the jail staff can do and what we can't do. And that's getting us on the same page, which is going to be very helpful. We did have there's going to be an update as far as some of the medical assistance in the detention center, and as far as hydrations in the holding cells. That is ongoing now. Anybody who's in a cell will be hydrated with Gatorade every 30 minutes, if they want it or not. The biggest thing with medical clearances is getting the hospital to document, or the doctor to document, everything that they see or has happened with that contact with that arrestee when they're brought to the jail, or brought to the hospital before they're admitted into the jail. That's one of the big things. So finally getting over that hurdle is going to help. Even if the person refuses, being able to document that on that medical clearance is what we need. But when we get nothing, that's that's a problem, when there's nothing said. But we got through that, and I think it's going to be a lot better moving forward. It already has. It's gotten a lot better. The Republican Central Committee has told me that they need security at the annex on the 21st. And apparently they have rented that facility. Is that right? Travis?
I don't think so. I
don't know.
I
thought,
thought they were out of Lewis area.
I think they were gonna go at the
No,
community.
this
what
is
I had
further.
heard.
Yeah, I don't know.
we can ask Kelly and find out
I'll
for
have to
sure.
ask and find out. All I
Yeah.
know is that I just wanted to make sure that that was what was going on.
News to us. I was under the same impression it was supposed to be at
Okay.
the community center in Ariel.
In Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
That-
Things change
We can
constantly.
confirm
I
it.
can't- I never keep
We
up
can-
with it, so
We can confirm.
until I know.
But while you're here, I do have an announcement that just came off of the Senate floor today, that the prostitution bill, the sponsor is killing it himself. So not 100% confirmed, but he did state it off the Senate floor. So I'm going to assume that that's as good as it gets. So it will be PI'd. So right off that, the prostitution bill for the state of Colorado will be PI'd. So
Okay.
that's good news. Not that you're having to deal with anything with it yet, but as it goes forward, that somebody will have to deal with it.
We'll
So
see what happens. Yeah.
good news.
Yeah. Just so you know, and for the record, that on the civil suit that dealt with the one person with the travelers and whatnot, wanted to let you know that I was not on board and did not agree to have that settled. It was out of my hands. We should have gone to trial. That's what I wanted to have happen, because we were not negligent in anything.
So
Just want you to know.
that then is with the insurance company, correct?
Yes. Okay, I just want you to know. I was totally against all of that. I wanted to go to trial. We were definitely good with what we did with that individual. So,
Well, just
so you know.
I understand that, because we also have had
We deal with
issues that we would like to go to trial too, but the insurance companies, once it gets put into their hands,
I know.
they will settle because it's a lesser dollar value to settle than to
Yep.
go to trial, which is,
Yeah.
then we
I
just
know.
keep getting more suits. So
Yeah.
again,
Anyway,
I understand
Just for
that.
the record, so you
A lot
know
of
where I
times
was
it-
at. Okay?
Things are out of our hands
Yeah.
also.
That's all I have.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Questions?
Thanks.
Okay,
The only,
thanks.
well, the only question I did have is, if you're giving them Gatorade every 30 minutes, what's the quantity of Gatorade? Are you giving them
It's a glass.
okay, so just 8
It's just a
ounces, not
glass.
like,
It's just a glass.
because I'm
okay?
thinking like this.
No, no.
Okay,
Not at all.
just
Okay.
quantity makes a difference.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
thanks.
All right, thanks. I don't see the coroner in here, emergency manager, or actually Fairgrounds. I apologize. I was going to let you go first, but you're not. All right, Justin.
Afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So, got some numbers there just to kind of go over 2025 for everybody. As far as our attendance goes, that is our best guess. You know, it's actually not going to be exact because there's no way for us to be exact, but it was one of our best years that I have seen out there since I've been there, and I think it's probably the top 2 most attended as far as through a year for different events and stuff that's been out there. We had 31 events held in 2025. That kind of encompasses basically anything like the Home and Garden Show coming up, the Outdoor Expo that's going to be coming up, those kind of things. That's not per day, that's just per event, so it could be a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day event or whatever. Our evening arena rentals, we had 36 of those last year. A lot of that kind of got hurt a little bit in numbers from the end of last year, just when we were dealing with the AHV, where we shut down for a little bit just during that time. Also, the weather plays a part in that. So if the weather's nice outside, they like to use outdoor stuff, facilities, instead of coming to the indoor arena. Our open riding days, we had 283 of those for 2025, which also kind of got hurt a little bit by that, plus when we were closed down for the fires that were going on last year. The kitchen, that's kind of self-explanatory. That's how many times we rented the kitchen throughout 2025. Same thing with the meeting rooms. Miscellaneous usage, that's just kind of anything else that goes on out there. Like we just had a beef tag in here back in February, so that's kind of explains what those numbers are coming from, just miscellaneous usage of the fairgrounds. As far as the revenue, I don't know the exact numbers for our conservation trust, what it brought in, but the fairgrounds revenues were that $166,651.37 for 2025, which is up. I think we were right around 120 last year. Of course, some of that is from the fires being reimbursed for when they use the facility. And then, of course, the expenses, we were right around that $305,000 total. For what we had out there the last few months, of course, we always have the fair board meetings. Those run every third Monday of the month. They start at 6 p.m. Also, back in December, we had a goat tying clinic, the 27th of December, and then to start January, the Cortez Speedway, the ones that are running the racetrack out there, they did their race banquet, one of our meeting rooms. We had a breakaway roping jackpot back in January, as well as a 4 States Junior Rodeo. They did run both of those, January and February, so they're done for their winter series, and then they'll start back up again here in November this year. We see some 4-H class stuff out there, which is the leathercraft class you see that they're running once a month. Of course, the beef tag-in was back in February. We did have the Colorado Livestock Association meeting and banquet, which I know you guys attended. It seems to be a pretty good meeting space for them out there, so they've been utilizing that over the last couple of years. And then we've had our roping practice, 4-H practice, pony club, youth roping practice. Those have been still running in the wintertime during those evenings. Coming up here tomorrow and the next day, they're going to do a meat quality assurance class out there in one of our meeting rooms. The Four Corners Home and Garden Show will be April 10th and 11th this year. That's the second weekend of April. Moving into the third weekend of April, instead of it being a Cortez gun show this year, we're actually going to be having a Cortez Outdoor Expo. I know they've been dealing with a lot of regulation from state for trying to run gun shows, so that is being kind of changed and turned into something a little bit different. I do anticipate that's something that could potentially grow into something very big and good here in the future. The car races, they're planning on starting their opener the end of April. And then I know they want to try to have one at least the last weekend of every month out there. 12 Hours of Mesa Verde, of course, they're going to be Mother's Day weekend again, followed by the CDOT rodeo that we have each year out there. Coming into June, the Livestock Jackpot and Weaver Clinic, they did one of those last year. That turned out really good. That was something that the Livestock Committee for the Fair Board actually put on, and they teamed up with IFA and put on that clinic last year. Had very good attendance, and I expect the same again this year. And then, of course, we got the Ute Mountain PRCA Rodeo, Fraser Carnival. That's all, that second weekend of June. For the construction stuff we got going out there, just to kind of give you an update on it. I did get some soil compaction tests last week. Those were reading 98% compaction. We did spec it out at 96, so they are meeting that. They were going to give me a schedule the beginning of this week so we could put out, kind of let everybody know what's going on, when it's going on, that kind of thing. They are finishing demoing today, taking out concrete, and then they're planning on putting that culvert in tomorrow. And then after that, it's kind of doing some grading, some forming, and then hopefully next week we'll be pouring concrete. That's kind of their thoughts and hopes and ideas. And then here in a couple weeks, they'll have it all buttoned up, that way to be kind of done for the Home and Garden Show. And then they'll come back in, and that's when I'm going to work with them a little bit, see which one of those weeks works good for them to come back and do the asphalt between our shows.
So they should be done, other than the HMA, by the Home and Garden Show.
Yes.
So all the ADA accessible
Yep.
spots will then be,
Yep, they should have all that concrete
Available.
in. Now, I'm not quite sure if that encompassed them painting or not. I didn't really
Well-
talk to them about that part of it. But yes, as far as the concrete work being done and everything, the sidewalk being usable there in the front, so
Good.
we can open up those north doors, yes, that should all be accessible. The only thing they might do is we might just keep that west side kind of blocked off if for some reason we're not, to where we can use those. But
okay,
that's kind of our thoughts.
good.
There, maybe the middle to the end of May is an opening for them to come back. If not, maybe some time right in there in June. Whichever one works for both of us the best, so. And that they can get HMA good, so. That's kind of the update on that. That's pretty much all I have for you, so.
The only question I have is the fee schedule. You
Uh-huh.
said we were going to evaluate that every 3 years. This
Okay.
is the third year, right? I'm pretty sure it is, so you might, before you come to us
Okay.
next time, kind of evaluate that and bring your presentation of what you think the fee should move to.
Okay,
And
We
then we
did
can
do-
evaluate those.
some 5% stuff on it last year. I do remember doing that. But yeah, I can look it over.
But I want to say this is we did a 3-year incremental progressive increases, which were real small, but I think it's now, this year will be the last one, so let's evaluate it to see if we need to
Okay,
keep up with the numbers, because looking at your numbers, we're now at a break-even point, which is all we want to do is break even, which is good. And it looks like you had a lot more events out there this last year than you
yep, we did.
have in the past, so that's good too. Thank
Yep,
you.
That's kind of the hope and the ideal, trying to get more out there. There is that, trying to balance that
Yep.
cost first
Yep,
event. So, okay, I'll look it over.
yep, look it over.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay, now emergency manager.
Afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Anderson. Again, for the public, everybody knows my report's posted on the webpage. Read it. Hopefully there's not too many mistakes. It's a monthly report, but just to go over the last 3 months quickly. Colorado Emergency Management Association, they selected me, and I'm now on the legislative committee. So I'm looking at all the other bills, probably all the ones that you look at, but not necessarily the prostitution one, but I'm looking at some of the others. So
That could become an
that's-
emergency, you never know.
that it probably would, yeah. So
Maybe health, I don't know.
electric vehicle batteries, unmanned aircraft regulations, response to the department divisions for state emergency stuff. And we're pretty busy. There's a lot to read, We did join the community animal response team they're still separate teams, but for training purposes, we joined them with the community emergency response team. So we meet monthly and do a little bit of research, and then we usually have a drill right after it. So this week's going to be little incident command training and what they do for deployments, especially during reunification, major fires, active shooter, stuff like that. So we're going to have that training this week. We got our total back from EMPG reimbursements, 2025. It's $33,574. Not quite that full amount that they allot us, but they make the rules up when you submit the reimbursements, and then I'm having discussions with the state on that.
Good luck.
Yeah. And then we did get approved for the $48,181 for last quarter and 2 of the quarters this year. And then we're not sure where the funding's coming after that, but I've already submitted $28,111 for that last quarter, and they're reviewing it now. So working on that. Still looking at researching funding opportunities for the hazard mitigation plan. Had a long talk with DOLA and a couple other partners, and still no buy-in from that. But the National Disaster Mitigation Enterprise, they're now looking at working closely with the state, possibility of getting some funding. So we're going to see how that goes now. But it's the grant funding on that, there's no match. It's just trying to get the insurance fees for wildland fire. So it's going to assist us in getting some funding for that. Trainings, a lot of emergent 3 alert and warning system trainings. We are now live. I'm going to say most all employees have been trained on it, and we're ready to go. So we will be having some fire drills and some evacuation drills. Not during board meetings, of course. But, well, that's a good way to test the civilians, right? All the people in the room, we just get the heck out of here. But we won't do that. We'll keep it pre-planning it. We did, we've been doing a lot of tabletop exercises, mainly power outage. We just finished one with 48 people that attended March 5th, cybersecurity planning meeting, and it was pretty good. McClain, myself, another guy from Denver came in. Well, we taught it because the feds were closed. So we taught it, and it came out really good. So we're working on that. And then I did attend the Colorado Emergency Managers Association conference. Spent 3 days, a lot of breakout sessions, a lot of good training, a lot of good stuff, a lot of networking. Went to a pipeline exercise in Montezuma Creek, and we just had one. That's why I had to leave early. I had to get over there, and we had excavation pipeline training over at the annex. So that went really well. Been doing a lot of threat liaison officer training, attending all of those, and that's probably it. You got all the stats, all the information. Hey, that's it.
One question comes to mind.
Yes, sir.
During the partial shutdown of the feds, are you having any problems with your office through FEMA or anything like that?
Yes. The Cyber Security Infrastructure Security Administration, that's what they call it, CISA. They had done the entire tabletop, but they were planning on coming down with their experts to talk and to do various things on that tabletop. They were shut down. They couldn't go anywhere. But we had them finish that up. I had the discussion with him at the conference and said, if you don't make it, we can do it. And we did. We've had some issues with the online training for incident command for employees. It doesn't work when they're gone. I've been trying to work with FCC on making sure my mobile repeater registration, my license, is up and running, and the website doesn't work. So yeah, when they're shut down, it's kind of hard. The state still working, but the feds. So
If
yeah.
we had an emergency today, would it impact you in any way?
You know, honestly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be trying to rally them out of their shutdown and get them over here if at all possible. I know the state would be here, but I'm not sure about the feds. That includes, you know, from behavioral health, ag, communication, everybody. Yeah. I don't foresee them coming out of the shutdown, because I think they've been told, you're not going anywhere. So they don't even volunteer.
You know what amazes, well, I better not say what I was going to say. I'll shut up.
Yeah, I'm trying to be politically correct too. Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully they get locked back in and we can go back to business.
Okay.
And that happened to us. Remember the generator grant shut down for a while. We couldn't get anything, and same with the mitigation planning to get approvals. So. And then one last thing, we had coffee with the commissioners, outstanding job, and we talked about wildfire, evacuations, prepping. So again, I say to the public, be prepared, and I'm sure you guys will bring that up as well, but preparation's a big deal. We lose power, water, fuel, whatever, whenever, but wildfire is a big deal this year. So.
And again, just on that, we are going to do another meeting on Tuesday, March 24th at 6 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m., right here at our BOCC room. And obviously the topics will be current fire danger levels and what that means to residents. Like Jim said, be ready, be self-sustainable for at least, 24, 48, 96 hours, whatever you choose, but be ready, have a plan. We're going to talk about controlled agricultural burns, fire mitigation, and then how residents can actually reduce their risk in their neighborhoods. So put it out there, get the message out, come back here Tuesday night. We did have a pretty good crowd today, but if we can all work collectively and get the right messaging out, hopefully we don't have a season that's going to be catastrophic for this county. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next up, SHS. We're going to talk about a LOS, letter of support for congressionally directed spending. Matt, Lindsay, and Bridget.
Thanks, Travis, for getting us on the agenda.
Talk closer.
I don't want to talk closer. So I'm going to give a little spiel, but Bridget, who's the grants manager for the hospital, is going to give more of a spiel, because I kind of just got in on this last Thursday, and it's a pretty quick timeline of next Mondays when everything's due. But there's some congressional funding that is possibly available for the hospital to apply for, regarding like the EMS system and ambulances. And so what we need for the grant is letter of support from local government and other agencies to include in the application. The hope is to get funding to replace some of our ambulances. Funding would obviously determine how many we could get replaced. We have a fleet of 6 ambulances. The oldest one is a 2012, which has actually been out of service for almost a year, waiting on a motor from Ford. So we've been running with 5, and out of those 5, 3 of them are, one is over 10 years old, the other 2 will be 10 years old next year. Most of them have over 150 to 200,000 road miles. That doesn't include motor miles, because for every hour the motor idles, that's 25 miles on the road. So they're pretty high in mileage. The maintenances have been going up annually for them. Last year we were pretty close to $50,000 alone just in vehicle repairs to keep them running. So she can give you the details on kind of the grant, the congressional funding, and what is needed, but that's kind of my quick overview of why.
Okay, all right.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us today. The overview is this request will be for Representative Hurd's office. Specifically, I've talked to his assistant, Betsy, and we're just putting together a few things. But one of the biggest things that affects it is having that support from other stakeholders and agencies, as well as, commissioners and towns and things like that. So we'll be getting together a handful of them. Some congressionally directed spending, they only want 1. This one left it open, so we're going to get many so that they can see how important our ambulance service is in our community. So, do you have any questions for me?
Actually, I don't, but the only thing that I will pass on to you is I actually had a meeting with Congressman Hurd on Saturday, and he actually highlighted that also to be sure to get the request in, because it's really short.
Yes.
This is a super short timeline right now. So thank you, Travis, for being able to get this on the agenda for today so that we can get it submitted as soon as possible, because he's actually waiting for his office and staff. So appreciate it, guys.
One other thing I want to make you aware of, we are still going to apply to Senator Bennett and Hickenlooper as well for a different project. We're not
Okay.
quite sure what that project is. We have another 2 weeks for them. So we're getting this one out of the way, but you'll likely see me here before April again requesting
Okay.
support on that. But we're focusing on this one first since it's due Monday. And like you said, they weren't expecting to have HHS money to delegate for this until just very early last week, so.
What's the average cost of an ambulance?
So, last year it was 272,000. This year it's 324. And next year I would guess it will be 350.
Just like I said this morning, the costs don't go down.
No.
They just continually always go up.
Is that fully equipped or?
Nope, that is just a vehicle with a box on it and the
Okay.
lights. Equipped, you're looking at 475 to 500.
And just in case it's helpful, SHS has regularly requested and gotten funding through the state's program that does a 50% match. And it feels like we often get that, and it's not enough to keep the fleet to the level it should be to make sure we have the trucks on the road. Hopefully I said that
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's the state provider grant. It's from the, I think it's $4 now on the license plates, but everybody pays a $4 fee that goes into a pot of money that's distributed amongst the state annually.
All right. Very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna jump down to bullet point number 3 and have Mr. McClain and Ms. Fraley come up here. That way if they want to get on with their day, they can. But this will be a conversation for the 2210 as it relates to Region 9. So with that,
Yeah, this is, good afternoon, Commissioners. This is kind of a two-part thing to the same issue. The first part of this, and that's what this draft is for. If you'll remember back, we drafted the MOU with 2210 on the fiber that the county owns, all the strands. But we failed to put in that MOU anything in there that says, what about future fiber? So this would just be drafting an addendum to go into it that says, yes, we want you to manage the future fiber, the next 24 strands that are going in, that Clear Networks is putting in kind of as we speak. They're building it now. So that's what this piece of it's for.
And basically, it just is saying the additional strands that will belong to Montezuma County on the regional build between, that's going to happen currently between Cortez and Mancos. And 24 strands have been designated as Montezuma County fiber. 6 of those strands will go to Empire Electric, and then Jimmy wanted to save a couple of strands for the county. So that's why I left 16 strands on the draft that would be available for us to lease out.
to whoever
Yeah.
signs the lease.
So the
And-
second piece of this is we've had a request from Region 9 about leasing either 2 or 4 strands for that run, and they've asked for a proposal, which is kind of what got me off the block about getting this done. And I spoke with Jimmy a little bit just because it's part of the regional fiber work, and I got to thinking maybe you guys would want to do something special for Region 9. What we have been charging is $72 a mile per strand, This particular run would be 17.36 miles. It might change a little bit once it's actually built. And so if Region 9 wanted 2 strands, that's $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year. Or if they wanted 4 strands, that's $5,000 a month and $60,000 a year. Region 9's been very upfront that they don't have funding for this, but they're asking for proposals. They will also be seeking a proposal from Clear Networks, who is putting in the whole 288 strand count, and probably also from the Alpine Loop, who's putting in fiber. And I was just thinking, you know, if the whole point is for governments to be able to talk to governments, that rather than us taking a big guess, I thought I would come and ask you if you want to do a discounted rate or just do it at a 0 rate, or what kind of proposal you would like us to present to Region 9, since it is a government-to-government kind of thing.
Let me think about that for a while, because we do pay a pretty sizable fee to Region 9 and the COG over there for our communication with what they do. Maybe this would be something that we could have a conversation and come up with something. So I don't really want to answer that question as far as the position that I sit in right now. This whole project that we put together and developed and put this fiber in was because we knew these days were coming. So we're ahead of it, but we also, at some point in time, would like to reimburse the county and make it profitable for the county so that it actually is a plus in the plus column. So we'll think about it. We'll get back to you, but
Okay.
definitely can't make a decision today anyway.
Sure. I
But
just wanted to see if you had
it
thoughts
might be a negotiating tool to say, hey, reduce it by X amount, and we'll say that X goes over to, I don't know, we'll get together with Jimmy and we'll go from there.
So I can retool this draft addendum and get it to you if indeed you want us to manage these 24 fibers. If you don't, that's fine too, but we don't have anything in the current MOU that states that we would be responsible for that, so.
I want to say, when we originally put that together, that was kind of our intent, wasn't it?
It was our intent, and we just failed to add the language in there
Yeah.
that says for everything future, because although I had always known we were hoping to build out more into the county, I still didn't know how long it was gonna take to get it done, so that was just kinda, it was there, but it wasn't there kind of things. And we were so focused on what we were building, and I didn't.
Okay.
And just so you know, for this stretch, Montezuma County is getting it built from here to the county line. The piece from the county line into Durango has not been funded. And I don't know when that might happen, but if we can get between Cortez and Mancos, there are routes then to get to Durango of already existing fiber through Tri-State. So I do have a couple of pieces of good news. So we have 2 customers that I think are likely to sign leases this year, which will be, both of them are considering upfront payments for like 10 years. So there will be nothing completely solid yet, but that will be some nice revenue for the county, so.
Good. Awesome. That's great news.
Yeah, I thought you might like to hear that.
That's great
So,
news.
do you have any thoughts about the addendum? Should I make any changes? I was telling Jim before we came up here, maybe what we should do, rather than putting 16 strands in as the addendum, would be to list all 24 and then put something in there about Empire Electric has been given the use of 6 of those, or something different, or do you want to just leave it with the 16?
It's my feeling that we should put all 24 strands in there, showing that we reserve 6 strands for Empire Electric as part of this partnership, and that way we're not getting it on the back end and running into all kinds of legal issues.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's,
was hoping that would be
And we're
more
laying it right
clear.
out front,
Yeah,
hey, this
it's-
is what we have.
yeah, we have 24, so yeah.
Okay,
I think that would, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah.
so I'll rework that again, send it to Jim, and then he can bring it to you
Okay.
I mean,
guys.
now you're making me go way back to that conversation. But I remember that the 24 strands were always going to be listed as ours, and our intent was always to have 2210 manage those contracts
Okay.
for
That
us.
is correct.
So,
It just
Um,
wasn't, the
we
language
just didn't-
isn't in there, so.
got it. Okay.
What I'll do, as soon as she gets finishes drafting the letter, I'll get it to Stephen, and then he can do his thing, and we'll try to get it before you in the next couple, 3 weeks or something, and get it signed.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank
All
you.
right.
thank
Thank
you.
You guys, appreciate it. Landfill closure.
Go back up.
That's just Travis. He's here with us.
Okay.
He's here with us. Nobody else is waiting for that.
This is transfer order 1 for 2026. It's a transfer of $120,000 from the landfill fund to the landfill closure fund. It's budgeted, and it's for increased closure costs. Mel's here if he has anything to add, but it's pretty simple.
This was voted on like in 2018, correct?
This is a mandatory deal that we have to do for financial assurance state compliance with CDPHE.
Yep. And I think it was voted on in 2018 or just prior to me being seated, and we've been doing it every year.
Yeah, and
So-
just to capture for the record, this is a mandatory compliance thing for CDPHE
Yeah.
to get it on the mic. And it's budgeted and planned, so.
Yep. That's part of it, so I don't have any questions. It's
No, I don't.
just another cost of doing business, people. Landfill is a cost of doing business. And we collect those fees and we'll do the
Can you send them a
closure,
bill?
post-closure.
Can you send them a bill?
Basically, does build all the time.
I know, that's what I mean. Send them a bill.
Thank you.
We're getting ready to. Thank you, Robert. Okay, James Dietrich is not in here right now, so let's talk about, I see the Road and Bridge Department in here. Mr. Heath, come on down. Mr. Bugg, come on down. We're going to talk about a proposed pay plan. One of the first meetings that we had, Commissioner Lindsay and I and Travis, with Road and Bridge, with all the departments or foremans in there, one of the things they brought to our attention is that everybody was starting and staying at the same rate of pay, which was creating
Compression.
struggles, frustrations, so on and so forth out there. So until we get our actual countywide plan developed, this is kind of what we've come up with for a stopgap. All of the foremen were given this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they have had time to look at it, dissect it. They have came back, they said it looks great. They had no comments or return of anything. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Heath and Dennis.
All right, well, what would you like to know?
Well, just so it's full transparency, let's go over the whole thing for job titles, descriptions, and go over the whole plan.
Okay, so what I did is I went to took the 5 closest counties. So like looked at Route, Elbert, Morgan, Summit, Delta. Also looked at the city of Cortez since we compete with them.
Can you pull that up, Travis? Do you have that side of that equation? The other side, who are we comparing us? You don't have it? Okay.
I didn't give that to you guys, no. I didn't even think about giving you that part, but I just looked at everything to kind of get an idea of where we sit, and then looked at our closest other competitor that's outside our range, which is La Plata County, since obviously they're so much larger than we are.
took that into consideration, tried to make apples and apples. Not everybody calls their people the same thing or really does exactly the same. And then built a pay plan kind of based on what the city does use. They use a 15-step plan, so that way we would have something comparable to who we're competing against. So those are 3% steps is what they are. So basically we looked at having 2 different levels of driver operator that they could test their people coming in to that way have some kind of idea where to slot them. And then we also have the ability, which has only happened one time, have an apprentice.
Yeah, one time.
But if with having the ability, with sometimes having problems hiring, if we were unable to find people that already have CDLs and some equipment operational experience, we would have the ability to like hire somebody at a entry level pay rate and then try and train them more, because we know that we do have challenges sometimes finding people. So that's why there's an apprentice in there. So the driver operator right now is just driver operator, that's it. And so we know that we get a vast variety of what people's qualifications are, which is part of the issue that we were having. And then we also created a thing called driver operator trainer. So that way, typically we had 1 or 2 people that were doing most of the training, and they're also getting paid the same hourly rate to train. So kind of like what they do in, like SO does, is they have like an FTO or an officer in charge. While that person is training, we would have the opportunity to just give them $1 an hour only while they're training. And then when they're not training, they just go back to what their hourly rate is. But that was the other problem, is not only were they just a driver operator stacked at the same pay rate as everybody else, but they were also the one responsible for training all their peers. And so that's why that's there. The foreman is slotted in. That's a foreman for driver operators. And then we have a mechanic 1, 2, and 3. And then the same thing, have the ability to have somebody be a trainer for that. So if your level 3s are training your 1s and 2s, that way they have the ability to get a bump in pay only while they're training. And then the mechanic foreman, as you can see, is a little bit higher pay rate. If you look at the rates for mechanic 1, 2, and 3, because they do have to have certifications coming in, typically have more education, they're typically just slightly higher than the driver operator. And then, so the mechanic foreman is the same way, it is slightly higher. And like I said, those are 3% steps right now. And this can be obviously done as a step plan, can be done as an open range plan. I just built it as a step plan so that way it was visible to see what it would look like in steps. Because a lot of times what you'll do is just have a start pay, a top pay, and just say that you just give 3% or whatever raises, and you just do the math. And so, but that way at least it's stepped out, so that way you can see really what it would look like if it was stepped out.
So with this plan that was also presented out there that day, which most of the, well, all of the foremen were in the room, some of them will be froze for a period of time.
Everybody that's there right now will be froze for a period of time.
Right. But to fix and cure this plan so that the steps are cyclatory to where they need to be,
right,
this would work. So some would move, but the foremen would all basically.
The foreman would stay. I think we have 2 people that would maybe need to move that are driver operators.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else would stay frozen until we got them caught up. But that is based upon once we get the actual pay study done to
Correct.
This is, I would assume, pretty close from all the ones I've done in the past. I don't see it changing a whole lot other than they might recommend a shorter top out time.
Yep.
Yeah, and do bigger steps, but which could change a few things.
The only thing that we left off of here was the office staff, because we
Right.
felt like that could be captured with the
Right.
pay study of the rest of the county.
Right.
And that this again came from the ground up,
Right.
not the top down. This came from the people out there at Road and Bridge, not us.
Right.
So we're just trying to do something to help them so that they know exactly where they're going and what they cannot do.
Yeah, and all the office staff, there's one of each title also, so there are no compression within them, so.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, well then we'll make a decision on it and we can implement it and go from there. Do you have anything else at all, Heath? Did anything else come up?
No, we're moving forward, everything's flowing along, and this will help us out in the long run, I think. I think it'll be a good change, because that's a big problem out there. Everybody makes the same, and nobody has any flexibility, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we had 6 people retire last year, so I mean, it thinned out the longevity.
Okay, very good. Appreciate it, John. All right, James Dietrich.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
So what we have here is a request for a letter of support that came from the Dolores Watershed Collaborative. And what they're planning to do is coordinate with the Forest Service, and they're planning to do treatment on about 400 acres of ponderosa pine up around the House Creek area. That area up there, well, you all kind of know the stand up there pretty good. So it's rated as poor for fire effects and fire regime conditions, and we think that doing some of this work will help improve the forest health, watershed health, as well as reduce the risk for wildfire. So there's no money from the county. This is all exterior to the county, and it's just to support that grant request through the Dolores Watershed Collaborative.
Question?
How are they gonna treat this?
So it'll be a combination of mechanical and probably doing some follow-up burning as well. But it'll primarily be mechanical.
Okay.
And they're hoping to get some usable product out of it also.
Okay.
And as you know, the ponderosa has just got a limited market, so it's just a tough wood to try to get any kind of usable products out of.
Yeah, because it's all small diameter.
Yeah, small diameter too. But even the large diameter stuff, there's just not much market for the ponderosa, unfortunately. So.
Okay.
This is kind of a small amount. 400 acres isn't a lot, but anyway, it's a start. So.
Questions, Commissioner?
How did, I guess I question, where's the 400 acres? I mean, how'd they pick that out?
Yeah, and so it's multiple units up there, as you might expect, but it's right around the House Creek turn, right in that area, where you go down into House Creek. So it's on both sides of the road, but yeah, so, and it's multiple units.
Yeah, because 400 acres is extremely small
It is very small, yeah.
when you're talking to the national forest of
Yeah.
850,000,
Well,
something like
it's,
that. It's
yeah, of course, not all that's in the ponderosa
Right.
belt, but yeah, there's a lot more ground to treat up there. And they do have a timber sale that's being planned for that entire area, and this represents just a portion of that timber sale.
okay.
I guess, like, one of my concerns is we just had a fire mitigation and fire conscious workshop or coffee this morning, and I don't wanna get something started up there right after we do this.
Right, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
if it's all mechanical.
Yeah, if
it
it's all
shouldn't be.
mechanical.
It's primarily mechanical, yeah.
Okay,
And of course, all that up there, they need to burn a lot of that off, and that'll all be a part of the overall prescription for the larger area. For this, though, is really just the mechanical.
That's probably why it's so small.
That's why it's so small, yeah.
400 acres.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
sir. Appreciate it. With that, I'll go all the way back to the top. George, come on down.
Good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. Had a meeting upstairs that's lasted longer than I expected to. But this year's starting off kind of crazy. I've had 26 total deaths, and I've had 15 hospice deaths. My suicides are coming back from last year. I'm pretty sure I had 5. I sent off toxicology this morning on one from yesterday. 2 motor vehicle accidents and 2 overdoses. So been kind of a bouncy start to the year.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, I mean, no.
No.
Hard.
The new floor that we put in is really good. We found out we have an issue with it though in the cooler. I've been talking to Justin about it. We were getting, because we put in a solid vinyl, hospital style vinyl. They heat weld it together, but in the cooler, before we had water underneath it a little bit. So we took out all the insulation. We had fans on it. Whenever we put the linoleum down, well, that sealed everything. Before it had BCT, it was letting some of the moisture come out. Apparently it's the temperatures underneath. And so we have a lot of condensation. So the underlayment is bubbled. And so we're going to have to go in there and cut that out. And I've been talking with Justin. All the research I've been doing for a conventional frame floor, if you put a cooler on it, you need to have a minimum, I think it was a R29. But we were thinking maybe go with some spray foam under the floor to seal everything, wrap all the joists and everything in the spray foam just underneath the cooler, and then we can just lay a piece inside the cooler and weld it back together. But other than that, it's working real good throughout the rest of the building.
Okay. Very good.
Good to me.
Question?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Doug.
All right. Thank you, George.
Can't do much about people dying, but we can fix the cooler.
Well, I wish you'd fix some other things too then. I could live with the cooler. I could just rip the floor out if I had to. But, all right. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks,
All
George.
right.
Thanks.
All right, Travis, we'll go to you with this Cellebrite software for the SO.
Commissioners, this is actually pretty simple. We was able to find funding within their current budget. The reason this is coming before you gentlemen today is it's beyond my signature authority and Commissioner Candelari's signature authority, so we need to get it in front of the commissioners for approval. This is for some of their cell phone extraction software.
Okay.
And we're not increasing the budget, not amending the budget. This is funds that we already found in the budget.
It's just
Pretty-
procurement
yeah.
policy.
Yep, pretty straightforward. And this gives them their software that they need that's expiring or to be
Yeah.
able to keep it.
I have no problem with it.
Okay. All right, very good. Discussion of leasing water. I did get a call the other day. We do lease our 20 shares of MVIC water. We don't have them listed yet, so we do have to make that approval annually every year before we get them out there to MVI so that they can be leased. We were leasing them last year for $1.25, and I guess that's the conversation. Do we want to leave them the same? And I'm looking at you, Commissioner, because you know more about it than I do. Is that still a good price? Do we need to alter it one way or another, or?
If we're gonna alter it, we ought to raise it a little bit,
Okay,
I
you have
think.
a recommendation? I don't,
Don't we have to push this out?
no, we publish it out there where they lease.
Okay.
They can only lease the water out there,
Right.
so we put it out there publicly so that it's open to anybody. We try to do it in increments of at least 5 shares so that we don't get, but in the past, we've typically, I think mostly 10, 12 shares at a time, and then they're gone pretty quick. So what would your recommendation be?
I think we should raise it to 135. Still reasonable.
And I don't have any real good pulse for this, so I'm gonna go with your recommendation. You were part of that world out there, you know what it is. We'll vote on this and approve it tomorrow, and we can add that number in whenever one of you guys make that motion, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Okay, and then we can get it back out to MVIC, and they have a, we do usually sign 2 or 3 of the forms so that the staff out there can just take care of it, and then we
Yeah.
get the check in here.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing on our agenda is our discussion as it's related to the blight. I did bring, and I've got copies for both of you. I pulled up Mesa counties and Montrose County. They
I
don't.
did too. I pulled it up. I've got also Apache County and San Juan County, Utah didn't have one that I could find. San Juan County, New Mexico has one.
Yeah. So those are the ordinances from Montrose and Mesa County. Those are the two that I said that I would propose. There's a lot of good information in there. Our attorney's not here, so he's probably not gonna want us to go too far off the rails.
Yeah.
But it's part of looking at, every other county, I think, has a blight or some kind of, here he comes right now, so now we can keep going. Ordinance. Dang, we're just about ready to go.
I pulled up Delta counties too.
Yeah, I think you said you were gonna do Delta and somebody else,
Yeah.
and,
I did La Plata and Archuleta, I think. I got both of those.
yeah. So I just wanted to have hard copies to give you guys. That's from Montrose and Mesa. And then we can start having a conversation of how we wanna, the process to go. But there's language in all of those for you to look at, the ones that I said that I would produce for you.
Yeah.
So that you can compare them. So if you have the other ones, if you can send them to me, then I can review those alongside these.
I'll bring them tomorrow.
Okay. What we're doing is just kind of discussing the ordinances that we had pulled off. I have Mesa and Montrose counties right here, and the others, they'll get to us tomorrow so that we can actually start the process of what we're gonna do with that ordinance, or if we change the comp plan first, how that needs to march out appropriately.
Sounds like some good investigative work there, Commissioners. One thing I wanted to bring up too, myself, Don Haley and Jim Spratlen have been talking about this some. We're working on just kind of like an overview document about what are the different things we see as all the different options essentially the board could consider in terms of making changes to the comp plan, and trying to just put together basically an information sheet about here's what we see as the different options that are possible. Here's how that would work at a practical level for each option. Here's maybe pros and cons, perceived cost to the county, perceived effectiveness, something like that. So we've had some initial discussions about that. I've got a rough draft. We've also collected some of those ordinances. I know particularly Mesa County is one that I looked at recently. So we're maybe tracking on a similar path, doing some investigative work, seeing how this works around the state and what options would be available to the board here in Montezuma County.
Okay. So, Travis, leave this obviously on the agenda. We'll leave it as a action item, I guess, just to keep moving the process forward. So, with that, do you guys have anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, we are adjourned.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming.